Our second terminology for this week is transfer of merits, which in Chinese is known as 功德回向. 功德 means merit, while 回 can be translated as to rotate or to revolve. And 向 means direction. Therefore, 功德回向 means to transfer the merit we have accumulated through our practice to all sentient beings, or a certain recipient that we set in mind. And in the process of doing so, not only would we benefit our recipients, we ourselves will also gain benefit from it. The meaning of transfer of merit can be to hand over for safekeeping, which means to keep the merit you have accumulated by practicing Buddhism in something like a bank as a fund for your achievement of Buddhahood in the future. So you hand over for safekeeping. You will be using it in the future. Secondly, it can also bear the meaning of sharing, which includes the sharing of conscious giving of spiritual wisdom and virtue to others. Transfer of merits means exactly this word, sharing. And let us spend some time to dwell on the idea of sharing and then go deeper into the significance of transfer of merits. Sharing can also be known as reciprocity, or returning to others the benefits we have received from society, our parents, teachers and friends, or from our spiritual studies. Sharing is like passing down the flame from one candle to another. The brightness of the candle itself does not become weaker. Instead, with the aid of the flame of all the other candles, the room will become even brighter than before. Sharing is also like transferring computer files through the internet. First, you choose your recipient. Then you click on the mouse to begin transferring the file. After you have done so, your recipient has received information from you, yet your own copy is still there. So information can be passed on to many people and allow knowledge to be widely circulated. Merit can also be transferred in the same manner. Sharing can also be like sowing a seed. Seed sprouts, and then it will grow, and then it will bear fruit. And this fruit will then grow more seeds inside it, which will allow even more plants to grow. And these more plants will then bear even more fruits, and so on. Therefore, from one seed, we can go into many fruits. And therefore, we can even say that the very first seed that we had planted has never disappeared. It is still there. As Buddhists, just as long as we have faith in the fact that by practicing Buddhism to benefit others, we will allow good causes and conditions to exist. And we also need to believe that transferring merit is a beneficial act and thought of kindness. Our wishes will be received by the target we choose to transfer our merit to. Acts of sharing helps others, but it would also help the one who gives. When we share, we generate good karma and protect ourselves from narrow-mindedness, stinginess, and greed. Acts of sharing arise from, first of all, a sense of gratitude. Secondly, it could arise from an understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. Acts of sharing can involve sharing our time, sharing our money, or sharing our emotional responsiveness. It could also mean sharing our skill, material goods, knowledge, wisdom. Or at a deeper level, sharing is achieved by transferring our virtue or merit to others. We must remember that deep transmissions of Buddhist truths are always done through mind-to-mind transmissions. When we honestly give ourselves to others, we transmit some of our mind to them. When we learn to practice the act of sharing, we need to remember not to cling to acts of kindness. Why? Because ultimately, there is nothing that we can cling to anyway. And when we practice the act of sharing, we should also remember that if we were to cling to acts of sharing, then we will create only a poisonous turmoil. In other words, kindness with strings attached will tangle, and it will be poisoned with greed and anger. According to the Avatamsaka Sutra, or the Flower Garland Sutra, there are 3 basic levels of sharing, or reciprocity. First of all, there is sharing of the Bodhi mind. We receive a course, for example, the Buddha's teachings, and attain the result of that teaching by understanding it and implementing it in our lives. For example, we learn something from a book we're reading. Learning is the result of our openness and ability to share in the knowledge received. Now, the second level is sharing with other sentient beings. This includes acknowledging what others have done for us, and then give ourselves in return. The third level is known as real sharing, or sharing reality. This means using some particular occurrence to understand or explain the deeper principles that underlie it. For example, a friend's death will enhance our understanding of the brevity of life, and indeed of all things. A small act of kindness may help us to understand the general importance of being kind in everything that we do. When we learn from our mistakes and come to understand and correct the deep-seated tendencies within us that produce them, we have shared reality with ourselves. To put it simply, sharing is to share the benefit and joy you have gained through practicing Buddhism with others. Even after sharing, this benefit and joy are still with you and will not decrease in any one bit. The Buddhist sutras have divided transfer of merit into the following 6 kinds. First of all, to transfer the phenomenon into the truth, which in Chinese is known as 回视相理. And this means to transfer the merit we have accumulated in the phenomenal world into the supreme truth. Secondly, we need to transfer the cause into the effect, which is known as 回因向果. And this means to transfer the merit we have accumulated from the cause into the supreme effect of Buddhahood.